So this presentation is about if it's feasible to obtain a job in human resources. There are many aspects of human resources within a company. It's going to be about either interviewing, labor relations, employee relations, benefits, training, discipline, and payroll. And honestly, sometimes you're going to be a jack of all trades within a company. What I'm specifically going to be talking about will be recruiting and screening and interviewing and hiring and placing people within a company or within a department within your company and just making sure that they're doing okay and they're liking their job. Labor relations is a department within human resources that's dedicated more to that aspect of making sure that everyone is happy within their job, whether they just started yesterday or they started 3, 5, 10 years ago. The purpose of this report is to give to any student that's looking to go into human resources, maybe even anyone that is already in human resources, to see if it wasted their time, money, or effort. The visual here is basically the low end of the spectrum of human resources, the salary, that would show is $58,000 for the country, but really that's about middle for Wisconsin because we have smaller towns, not very big companies. That's probably a lot of the eastern or the western cities. Mid-range is about $75,000. High range is about $92,000. So even if you're not within Wisconsin and all of that, that's really good for the salary range. The higher rate, this is the one part that may make me think twice about it, is when I went for my associate's degree in human resources, even for Fox Valley Tech, it does say about 65% of people get a job after they graduate within a year. And I was within that 35% of people that did not. And it was hard knowing I had a degree and I wasn't able to use it because it wasn't enough experience or education for most companies around here. So if you're going for human resources for a bachelor's degree, great. But in my own opinion, if you're going to go for human resources, make sure you have a secondary plan that you do want to go for your bachelor's degree after you get your associates, because if you don't, you probably won't find a job for a while and you won't be able to succeed, or not even succeed, but move up in the company because of your education level. There's a lot of people with human resources degrees easily from 4-year. So about 65% of people from Fox Valley Tech did have a job within the first year. So that's out of the 23 people graduated in 2018, that's 15%, or 15 people. So 15 people out of 23 had a job. But the field itself is actually going to rise about 7% within the next year. So that's about 586,000 employees that it's going to rise, which is huge. So that turnover or that unemployment rate that we were talking about probably is going to decrease. The salary range for this, like we mentioned in the visual, is about $50,000 for entry level for human resources. That's when I started out, and I'm entry level, and so now I do know that that's accurate. Once you go to the next percentage, it's about $58,000. So that could even be in like 2 or 3 years of my employment. And human resources manager makes about $99,000. So that's really good. And a human resources director makes about $166,000, which I feel is a little high for Wisconsin, but if it's not, that's great. The unemployment rate is something that's a little bit difficult when assessing human resources because honestly, overall average is about 3%. So looking at all of that, it says about next 10 years, the estimated need for the human resources managers will increase about 10%. That'll even lower the unemployment rate. But with it being about 3.9% of the country's average, it's hard to really say. But it's supposed to get lower. The turnover rate is also something that is a little bit tough because honestly, once you grow within education level, once you grow within your company, getting more experience, that you'll be more qualified somewhere else, and your own company may not, have room for you to exceed. So that's why the turnover rate is a little high for human resources, because people gain experience, but then they have to move somewhere else to really move up in the company. So honestly, the summary of this report is just saying that I believe it is feasible to have a job within human resources because the salary range is high, the unemployment rate is very low. Turnover rate might be a little bit moderate, but honestly, that's because people are growing and exceeding in their jobs. So with all of that, I do think it's 100% obtainable to have a job in human resources.